This video is going to be a little bit of a demonstration of just what you can do with a compact tractor. Be a little bit of a minor torture test for the Ford 1700, as well as a demonstration of what the Woods BB60.30 can do in some heavier material. So I've got this quince bush here, and it is pretty close to the house. And I've been thinking about this for a year because the quince bush is nice, the hummingbirds love it, but the issue is it grows so darn fast. Right now, that top is more than 8 feet to the top of the new stems, and every year I end up cutting this back down to like 5.5 feet, and it shoots off about 3 feet of growth. And trimming it's a pain. The other thing is it grows out with limbs, and so mowing around it's kind of a chore too. Not a whole lot of room to work with here. So I've decided that it's time to take this out. So the thing with the quince bush is occasionally you get thorns like that one there that when you come by on the lawnmower, just no fun to catch them on you. Now, as we look into this bush, you can see how dense this is with all these stems. Most of these are under an inch, but then we've got like this one right over here, that's close to 1.5 inches. There's a couple of those. Now, the Woods BB60.30 is rated with a 2-inch cut capacity. The lightest duty rotary cutters out there are generally rated for 1 inch. So this is basically a step up from that in durability. So we shouldn't have any issue with the thickness of the stems in this quince bush, but what we might have a little bit of an issue with is the density of those stems. So as I go into this bush, I'm going to take the loader down low to kind of push the bush over. The rotary cutter I'll have set at about 6 inches off the ground, and I will go in first gear, the slowest gear that the tractor can go, to go over that bush for the first pass. Now, the thing with this is I do have to be careful. We are close to the house. It's not going to be an issue keeping the tractor away from the house. But what I do need to be a little more worried about is the debris that'll come out the back of the rotary cutter. And that's why I have the tractor coming in at this angle, because the rear of the rotary cutter is going to throw stuff that way, which will be away from where the house is located. Well, for sure, we were working up at and beyond the limit there with the BB60.30. There was so much material that it ended up causing the slip clutch to slip, which of course is why that slip clutch is there. You probably noticed that the tractor RPMs bogged down a bit and the cutter kind of stopped, but that PTO shaft kept going. That slip clutch is adjusted just right, and that of course is the purpose of having it. So this is a plug for making sure that your slip clutch is maintained and well adjusted so that when you do strike something that doesn't move, it doesn't damage your whole driveline. For the size of this bush, the debris pile is actually remarkably small. A lot of it just got mulched up right here. Some of it does extend back under the tractor. So I'll try and pick some of this up. We'll throw a bunch in the bucket and take it away. This piece here actually is still attached. I'm gonna go get some loppers, cut that off. As I clean this up, I just want to give you an idea of the debris field behind the rotary cutter. So you'll notice there really isn't anything over here. I've already cleaned that up, but there really wasn't anything thrown that way anyway. I had just pushed the bush over that way. But as you come back this way, you can see there are slivers out there toward the rock, and then all the way back over here. That's a solid 30 plus feet away from where that bush is, and you can see there's a few other pieces out there. So that's what a rotary cutter will do. You do have the potential for stuff to get thrown pretty good distance, so always something to keep in mind. So would I recommend using a rotary cutter to do this with a bush this dense and thick? No, I wouldn't recommend it. Just kind of wanted to prove a point with respect to what the tractor and the rotary cutter can do. Reality is, I've got loppers like this. I've got a chainsaw. Those would have been a better way to go about starting to get this cut down. With respect to the tractor itself being overloaded by the rotary cutter, well, having a properly adjusted slip clutch will prevent that. On top of that, going at an appropriate speed will prevent that. So in terms of overloading a machine with an implement, there's almost as much on the operator as there is in an incorrect size implement. Now in this case, the BB60.30 is a good match for the Ford 1700. Yes, the Ford 1700 is at the lower end of the PTO power that's recommended, but it handles it just fine. The reality is, more PTO power would just mean you could go a little faster. It wouldn't make a difference in dealing with something like this bush, because that slip clutch was slipping regardless. And that is what's protecting the tractor driveline.